Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the Eastern Conference looks different at the top, but how many of these teams are for real? We'll talk about the streaking Pistons, Raptors, and Heat, and whether any of them can actually win the East this season. Let's jump in.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about three teams at the top of the East in the middle of impressive win streaks before we preview the final week of NBA Cup group play. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
I have Thunder fans in their feels. I have made the Thunder fans deeply in their feels, which you would think that they would be impervious to their feels given how good they are. But yeah, they've all turned into Harden stands. It's insane.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
Listen, I'm just glad one of my teams in Chicago is winning consistently. That's it.
What did you do, Matt?
I tried to argue. My point is that Shea doesn't do for OKC what Luka does for the Lakers, or Jokic does for the Nuggets, or Giannis does for the Bucks. Like, he has a very specific role, which is like make bucket, no turnover. Like, take ball, make bucket, no turnover. Other team play defense, get stop, make bucket. And he does that at like the best rate we see of any guard since Jordan. Like, he's the best scoring off the dribble guard since Jordan. He just is. And it's incredibly valuable, but it's not the same as like these other guys. It doesn't mean it's worse. It doesn't mean it's better. It's just different. But they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that he's like an elite playmaker and like a great engine and all these things. It's like, no, make bucket, no turnover, make bucket.
Haize, I'm surprised the nuance got lost on Twitter.
I mean, yeah. Plus, you know what it is too, that I've realized? Matt Moore states his takes so directly that I think it makes people feel like they have to fight it with some fervor. And it's like, just listen to what Matt's saying. It's actually pretty sound takes more times than not, except for when he's talking about Chicago.
Except for when I'm talking about the Bulls. That's fair.
That's right. Well, we are going to start in the Eastern Conference, and I want to start at the very top with the Detroit Pistons, who after last night's win over the Cavaliers have now won 13 straight games. It's tied for the longest win streak in franchise history. Here's Ku Khalil from Locked On Pistons with more.
I kind of want us to just sit back and really acknowledge that the Pistons are 15-2. Like, people, I feel like people are kind of just tossing it to the wayside outside Detroit. Like, oh, have they really beat a contender? Have they, all this other BS. 2 years ago, the Pistons set the record for most losses in a row in a single season. 2 years ago, the Pistons had one of the worst seasons in NBA history. 2 years ago, the Pistons had the worst season in Pistons history. The future looked bleak. Everything was dark. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. And now, 2 years after setting the record for a losing streak, they're trying to set the record this Wednesday for the longest winning streak in Pistons history. It's a turnaround that needs to be talked about, congratulated.
Matt, Ku's talking about it as one of the great turnarounds in NBA history. Is it?
Man, I think in 2 seasons, probably. I think in 2 seasons for it to go that quick is pretty impressive. OKC's was pretty quick. I think the other thing is that a lot of the turnarounds that have happened were the product of the team intentionally went one. Like, OKC, tried to lose. Remember the Poku thing? Remember how everyone acted like Poku was a thing? And now he's no longer on the roster. And Poku played like a lot. The Pistons weren't doing that. The Pistons wanted to win and were just terrible. Like, they were just awful. They were also GM by a guy that's in New Orleans now, and that's getting a little awkward because that's not going great either. But for them to have turned this around this quickly, it also, to me, indicates a good reminder of how we need to approach #1 picks with Cade's pedigree. Like, Cooper may not be the guy this year, and he may not be the guy next year, but look at where Cade has taken this team now, and Duren and all these Asar, like the development curve and being patient and not getting too freaked out. Remembering you're never as bad as it looks. The Pistons weren't that bad that season. They turned around the second half of that season. That's why I liked them so much last year. Just a reminder of all those kind of things, I think, Haize.
You know what's funny is that you mentioned the Thunder and how like the Thunder try to be bad. The Thunder have only had 2 seasons in their existence where they've won less than 40 games. In those 2 seasons they did that, I think they got high picks and just set them off. It's crazy to say, but the Pistons should be celebrated. What the Pistons have done here is organically built a team. And even when you look at their acquisitions recently, like, last year, Tim Hardaway and Tobias Harris, Tobias Harris is still on this team. Like they never made like a move where you're like, oh, they're jump starting their rebuild a little too fast. Like they just have gone the course. They got a coach that believed in this roster, that has used them a lot better, and they've gotten to this point. The Pistons are a great story in the Eastern Conference and a great story in the NBA overall. And I'm glad that Koo, after what he's had to go through, gets to cover this team right now that's top of the Eastern Conference.
So I do have some stats. I looked it up. The biggest 2-season win jump in NBA history is actually from the 2018 76ers. They won 52 games 2 years after winning 10 games in 2016. That's a 42-win jump. Now, we all remember specifically what happened with that, with the process and all of that kind of stuff. The Pistons won 14 games 2 years ago. They've already surpassed that at 15-2. So to break the Sixers record, they'll have to win 57 games. That seems, Matt, to be in the wheelhouse. Like, that seems like a distinct possibility for this team.
Yeah, I won't go that far. I think we're a long way from that. I think the big problem is just that if you look historically, getting to 50 it's more of an accomplishment than I think fans act like. Everyone kind of acts like 50 is easy, and it's not. 50 is actually a pretty tough bar to hit. A lot of teams wind up 49, 48, 47. You can hit 50, but getting to 55 plus, like that's where it gets. That's honestly like there's a little bit of a tension there historically with the really great teams are the ones that win 55 plus, and the really great teams win 60 plus, and then you get the 70s. So I think it's doable, but I'm not really willing to get there on them yet. What's interesting is, kind of again talking about with that Sixers team, like that Sixers team drove me nuts because it was like they refused to sign a point guard. They were just like no. And it was like, all this team needs to be like just help your guys out. They need a point guard, and then they'll all look better. No, they just wouldn't have one. Versus like this Pistons team, again, I think it's way more organic, and it's actually kind of rewarding for it to just be like, yeah, they were terrible, and then they got better, and it will also, having covered a terrible team that kind of came out of that, it'll make Cade and Duren and those guys appreciate it so much more when they reach the peak of how bad it used to be and where they are now.
Listen, I won't count the Pistons out from getting to 57 wins because they're in the East and they still have assets to where they can push some things in and add. I read something from Mark Stein that said that they're one of the teams that are interested in like a Malik Monk, and that would be crazy for them to add to this team, at the mid part of the season. So I won't count them out of being able to do it. I think that they can win above 55 games. I don't know if they quite get to 57, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're above 50 wins this season.
You guys made the comparison to the Thunder and how they were winning or building organically too. This Pistons team does feel a little Eastern Conference Thunder-ish, right? I mean,
they do.
Elite defense. They turn the opponents over a ton. Nobody scores more points off of turnovers than the Pistons other than OKC, right? They're the top 2 teams in the league at that stat. They have that singular MVP style guy leading the offense it doesn't always look pretty, but the half-court offense just sort of works, Matt. Muted.
Do that every time. I think it's pretty impressive that they've been able to figure this out on the fly the way that they have. Like, they're just kind of piecing it together and understanding it. And they've had some guys out, too, which I think it makes that impressive as well.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey just came back. Tobias Harris working his way back. Asar Thompson has been in and out of the lineup, but you've got guys obviously stepping up there in Detroit. So they have a chance to break the franchise win streak record with 14 on Wednesday night. Haize, do you think they do it?
Yeah, I say they do it.
Matt, what do you think? I think you muted yourself again.
I hate myself. On Wednesday, they're playing the Celtics. No, they're gonna lose that game.
Second and third place teams in the East are also on win streaks. We'll talk about what's going right for the Raptors and what's going right for the Heat after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you do. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. I like using Drip Drop as part of my daily routine. I'll mix a packet in the morning before the gym or during my midday slump. It actually tastes amazing. My go-to flavor is orange, and it becomes my secret weapon for staying sharp and energized throughout the day. Hydration has become a non-negotiable for me. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly, just better overall. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, the best way to support the show. Subscribe on YouTube. We air Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. After last night's win over the Cavaliers, the Toronto Raptors have now won 8 straight games. They are second in the East standings behind the Pistons. Here's Sean Woodley from Locked On Raptors with more.
They're 13-5. They've won 8 straight games, 3-0 against Cleveland this year. Yeah, they've come across Cleveland injured, battered, second nights of back-to-backs, whatever. Don't matter. This was a very nice win for the Raptors against a real opponent, which they haven't faced many of lately. And 2 big things from this one. One, Brandon Ingram. What a night from him. 37 points, 15 of 30 from the field. The crunch time defense for the Raptors down the stretch. Unbelievable. The Raptors are a real team, man. They're up to 4th in the NBA in defense. What? What's happening? I feel like I'm saying this every single time I talk about this team. But truthfully, what is happening? 13-5, 2 seed in the East. This rocks.
Haize, what stands out to you about this Raptors team during this stretch?
Man, defense for one. Scottie Barnes is great. Scottie Barnes is amazing. Yeah, that's Scottie Barnes, the team defense, and how they just play connected as a team. This is a really good coach team. I don't know if I expected them to be this well coached.
They said I was mad when I said they'd be the number 1 defense in the NBA. Mad. They're not going to be the number 1 defense.
I was supposed to say they're still not going to be.
They're not going to be the number 1 defense in the NBA. A good kind of marker on this is that they are schedule adjusted, actually 11th, but it's still good enough, man. Like, look at this. Like, schedule adjusted over dunks and threes, 9th in offense, 11th in defense, 13th in overall net, because they do have this problem where in their losses, the defense is terrible. And in the wins, the defense is great. And in the wins, the offense is like pretty good. And then in losses, the offense is awesome. It's like this weird. There's 2 versions of the Raptors. Within you, there are 2 Raptors. I think I like the formula that they're getting. Ingram right now has the highest field goal percentage amongst all players on pull-up jumpers this season. And that might dip a little, but like that's who Ingram is. Like, he's that good. Like, he's number 1, Shai's number 2. That's how good he's been this season at making those pull-up J's. One of the nasty secrets is how good they're getting off the bench, man. Jamal Shedd's been tremendous for them. He's such an impact player for them. Mamu is an impact player for them. One of the weird splits is they can defend with Ingram and Barnes. They can defend with Barrett and Barnes. They can defend weirdly with Ingram and Barrett. They can't defend with Ingram, Barrett, and Barnes. I don't know why. I thought Quickly was the problem, but he's not. The splits show that's not the indicator. But they do struggle in those specific dynamics, and that might just be like small sample playing very good offensive teams with those 3 on the floor. But I'll be curious to kind of see where this goes, man, because it's hard to kind of buy into what their ceiling is. Like, I can buy into the Pistons pretty easy, man, because I believe in Cade Cunningham. I believe in Jalen Duren. Like I loved him last year. Like Asar, they have all these names, and with the Raptors, you're like, oh yeah, like Brandon Ingram and like Scottie Barnes and like RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. Like those guys are good ish. So it's kind of hard to buy into like their ceiling, but they're getting it done, man. And I am with Sean in. You can't pick apart these wins. You just can't. Like take the wins where you can get them in the regular season, and the Raptors are taking them.
Are we overlooking Scottie Barnes a little bit here? They do have a weird dynamic, to your point, Matt, where Brandon Ingram is sort of the volume shooter guy, and that allows Scottie Barnes to play off the ball more than he has in the past. And that's been really good. Him, Ingram, and Quickly kind of having a lot of those ball handling duties has kind of helped Scottie Barnes. But Barnes is having the best year of his career. And Haize, it finally feels like it's all coming together with him, not just with sort of the high stepping, blowing the kisses towards the dunk, but just the overall physicality in his game, the fact that he's never been more efficient. How big is this Scottie Barnes apparent leap happening right now?
I think it's huge for Scottie Barnes to be this good, this consistent as well. That's the thing with Scottie Barnes. We've seen the flashes. If he's going to consistently be this good, he gives them. And, you know, as much as I looked at that Brandon Ingram trade, and I was a little bit confused by it last year because it's like you just moved off of having these kind of all long wing players that can all do very, very similar things. I do think that Brandon Ingram has been a bit of a stabilizer for this team as well, both scoring wise and doing some other things. So I believe that it's real. Make it through December, January for sure. But like if Scottie Barnes keeps on this ascension, he's going to be in talks for most improved player of the year.
A couple more weird numbers for you. So with Barnes and Ingram on the floor, their two best players, they have a 121 defensive rating, which is not good. They're only scoring 121.4. Like they're barely beating teams in those minutes. But when either of them is off, Ingram without Barnes is plus 10.5. Barnes without Ingram is plus 17.3. Barnes is averaging 3.2 stocks per game on top of shooting 50% from the field and 40% from three. Like Scottie is basically Scottie Pippen-ish right now in terms of role, not as good as he is. But like that's the role that he's taken. High-level defender, manages the team when Ingram's not on the court, makes all the defensive plays, and is like a secondary playmaker next to Ingram. It's a really interesting fit for him that makes a lot of sense.
And that makes Brandon Ingram Michael Jordan. So that's cool for Brandon Ingram, right?
Send it in.
Let's do it. Let's bring it back to Miami, where the Heat beat the Mavericks last night. They win their 5th straight game. Tyler Herro makes his return and his season debut after offseason foot surgery. He led the team with 24 points. Kel'el Ware, he's playing well, had 18 and 20 in that game against Dallas. Bam Adebayo is back in the lineup. But we still haven't seen the whole projected starting lineup because Norm Powell missed last night's game with a groin strain. But Haize, what stands out to you about this Heat start?
I mean, it's the fact that like the offense is legit. That quicker pace offense has been working well for them. And, you know, at the start of the season, there was a question on if the defense was going to be there. They've upped their defensive ceiling quite substantially. They're ranked down top 10 in defensive rating. So if they're going to be playing with this pace, executing on offense, and playing the solid defense, you got Bam, Kel'el Ware, they're playing really good. I don't know how you can bet against them. Now, the question does become, does Norman Powell and Tyler Herro work out their balance together? It's like it keeps getting pushed off. Tyler Herro's injury, now Norman Powell's injury. That's going to be the one pin in this. How good are they in their minutes on the court together? And that's the last part of putting this all together.
They got to knock gas out. This is going to be the hard part for them, is that what's the line? Toughest, most... Wes, you're going to have to help me out. No one knows it, but Heat fans.
It's basically the toughest, most well-conditioned, disciplined team in the league.
That's not the actual thing.
No, it's not the actual thing. I don't have it by heart. I don't
You
go
don't
capital
know
C. I don't go capital C. I go lowercase c. They lost me when they put it on the jerseys. I don't.
Wow.
You know me, guys. I don't give into branding even when it's the home team.
So anyway, that's going to really have to come into play here. Their conditioning stuff is going to have to come into play here. Yeah. I think they're fascinating because they're number one in pace, and you watch them and like, God, they're playing so fast. But here's like my favorite number on them. They hold opponents to the 4th highest half court rate. Okay, what does that mean? It means that opponents don't get easy buckets on them. Mm-hmm. Transition teams typically tend to be like you score and then they push it right back and they try and get a quick shot after you. But the Heat defense is so good and they're so disciplined in getting back that they drag you down into this half court offense where they are an elite top 5 defense. So it's instead of Shea, make bucket, no turnover. It is run, get back, get stop, run again. And they slow you down to let them run, which is a really interesting thing. And it's why it's so funny, because you look at high-paced teams and it's like, oh, they're all so good offensively. This Heat team is 17th in schedule-adjusted offensive rating. Like, their half-court offense and even their transition offense is only like, it's all right. But what they do is they exhaust you because you're having to run back all the time, and then you're going into the thresher of their half-court defense. It's a fascinating team build that kind of makes me want to give Erik Spoelstra Coach of the Year.
Hey, jump on the bandwagon, Matt. We're already here. Both you guys both brought up the defense. John Schumann had this in his weekly power rankings, and I thought this stat was great. Over the previous 29 season, for which we have play-by-play data, only 14 of the 145 teams that have ranked in the top 5 in pace have also ranked in the top 5 on defense. And the Heat would join. They would become the 15th team if they were to finish the season off where they are. That it's a hard needle to thread. That's a hard one to thread, and so far Miami is doing it. And to your point, Matt, offensively, like they aren't elite on a per possession basis, but that we still haven't seen them with Herro and Powell in the lineup together, and I'm fascinated to see how that works. To his point, when they both are on the court together.
I was so happy for Tyler Herro last night. Made the big floater to put that awful, wretched joke of a team away. Like it was an absolute, like, it's just cool to see Tyler back. Tyler went from being one of the guys that I thought was vastly overrated in the coming out of the bubble to now, after all the trade rumors and how he responded last year, he's a guy that I root for night to night. I was very happy for Tyler Herro.
I'm clipping that and I'm playing it on Locked On Heat because there's a lot of Heat fans who still don't like you, Matt.
What?
Really? What? That's crazy. The final week of the NBA Cup group play starts tonight. Could a former NBA Cup champion win it again? Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets could be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. There's no hidden fees at checkout. Plus, you can see exactly what your view looks like before you buy your tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every NBA team. Check out Locked On Pistons, Locked On Raptors, and Locked On Heat for more on today's top stories. Guys, we're entering the final week of NBA Cup group play starting tonight. Lakers-Clippers is the headliner. Both teams 2-0 in group play so far. The stakes for tonight, if the Lakers win, they can clinch the West Group B tonight. And if the Clippers win, they'll still need a Grizzlies loss to the Pelicans on Wednesday to advance past group play, which would be a nice silver lining in a start for this season for the Clippers that has not gone very well. Maybe they can at least, do something in the NBA Cup here. Other storylines, LeBron James back with Luka and Austin Reeves. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard back with James Harden. Matt, what are you watching for in this one?
Muted, Matt.
That's 3.
Damn.
That's 3 strikes. Do we have to kick you off the podcast?
I'm out. I'm done. I'm just going to leave. 3, it's the big star game of the night, right? With like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James. Kawhi cooked LeBron last year in the matchups that they were face off against each other, which I thought was interesting. LeBron still getting his win back from being gone. He's still he said this is basically his training camp period. I don't really know what to expect from the Clippers here. To me, Haize, this is what I suggested. The most Clippers outcome is that they win this game and have a chance to win the group, and then they lose to the Grizzlies. That is the most Clippers outcome, is for them to win this game and then lose to the Grizzlies, and the Lakers win the group anyway. That to me is the most likely outcome.
Anything with the Clippers failing, yes, I agree with that. So that's definitely an outcome in this one. The Clippers the Clippers still do have potential to be a solid team this season, but they have the potential. The potential's there, but they won't do it because they're the Clippers.
What do we think the problem is, though, Haize? Like, outside of them just the Clippersness, right? What do we actually think the problem is?
I mean, the age is definitely a thing. I think that's a thing. The balance on the roster, they just don't have the same defense that they had at times last year either. This team just like, and Harden's doing Harden things. Like James Harden is James Harden for however you view that. He's no different. He's James Harden. But it's just the pieces around it don't seem like this have the same kind of gravity that they had last year either.
Like to me, it's the defense, man. Like that to me is more than the old stuff. I think the old stuff is a little off because it's just like they got a 118 offensive rating with Harden on court. That's really good. It's not elite, but it's good. They're giving up 122. Like Derrick Jones Jr. was their best defender before he went out. They were giving up 123 with him on the court. Like Zoo was a DPOY candidate last year, 118. Like their identity last year was defense and Harden. And then Kawhi came back and he was like defense and Harden and Kawhi. And then this year, it seems like they tried to balance it and be a different version of it instead of really trying to recreate that. And it's just been a nightmare. Like this team is never going to go anywhere if they can't get stops, and they can't get stops.
I wonder if Bradley Beal being out for the year, Chris Paul kind of being out of the rotation now, if things just get cleaned up a little bit for Ty Lue in those rotations and he eventually just figures out, okay, I got to lean in back to like guys like Chris Dunn and Ivica Zubac and all these guys, but who knows? The other one that I want to talk about tonight, Magic at Sixers. It's basically Tyrese Maxey versus this Orlando Magic defense. VJ Edgecombe is out for the Sixers in this one as well. The last time these teams played, Tyrese Maxey scored 43 points on this Orlando Magic defense that gave up 136 points in their loss. That was in late October, but since then the Magic have tightened things up, turned their season around. They've allowed the 8th fewest points in the league in the month of November. Haize, who do you think is going to set the tone early in this game between Tyrese Maxey or this Orlando Magic defense?
Man, I'll bet on the Magic's defense, and a week ago I probably wouldn't have done that. But their defense is looking back like it did in years prior, where you trusted that their defense was going to allow them to go on a run in the playoffs. So I say the Magic's defense sets the tone more than Tyrese Maxey's offense sets the tone in this game.
I'm going the other way. I think the Sixers get the win here. I like this kind of setup. One thing that you do notice is that when guys like Maxey play defenses like Orlando, it comes down to, can you be enough of a scorer, because they're going to take away all the easy stuff. And Maxey, I think, Maxey is that good of a scorer. He has become that level of player. So I actually kind of like this matchup a lot for him. Magic off of the loss to the Celtics is not a great spot, but I do think I actually think the Sixers are going to get the win here. I think Detroit's going to win the group.
Jalen Suggs versus Tyrese Maxey might be the best matchup of the night with actual basketball as opposed to Kawhi versus LeBron. But if you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.